Hey, welcome back, modelers. It's been a while. Apologize for that. A lot of fun interruptions, you could say. So, we're going to talk about my Y-wing that I put together just in time for the Rocky Mountain Expo. So, a lot of people have been asking about that. So, I'm going to show you how I put together the electronics on it. This was the first prototype, and it failed. It has some good parts with it, though, so I might do something with it. Some things were actually a little bit better on this one, but I digress. So we're going to talk a little bit about how I put all this together and go from there. So let's talk about the easy part first, the engines. So the engines have a pulsing effect, and that was actually the easier part. So in there, I've got just a little LED bulb, and it is actually one of these, and it's all pre-wired up. It's got, I don't know electronically how it does it, but some kind of resistor in there to make it flicker. So all you got to do, have that there, run the wires, run the two of them together, and then have them go through the tube and just put both reds to red, both black to black, and hook up your power source, which you could have a plug-in that's like a 6-volt. I did 2 coin batteries and just put all the positives together, all of the negatives together, to have them run parallel. So that's the easy part. Just have to find ways to run the wires, and with this it's pretty easy. I'll show you that next. But on the subject of these LEDs, you can get all sorts of different stuff if you want it blinking, if you want, which I just realized that's the blinking one. These are not blinking, they are flickering, but same kind of diff. So there's different sizes that you can get these. This is the smaller of these pre-wired that I've got. Beyond here, you could even get like these itty bitty, like pico sized, but you don't quite need to go there. But these will come into hand next. Now, this model is a design by Alain Rivard, and there's some really good, easy ways to do the wiring and everything in here. So this part is there, and if you look on the inside, it's just a big box. So I routed this up, and be really easy to just drill through here if you just want to do the engines. But let's talk about the hard part. So I've got in here the cockpit that's all wired up, and we're not talking just one bulb, we're talking about 4, I believe. So I've got some lights that are blinking red, and they are their own LED. Solid red, I've got a yellow in there, and I've got a blue, and so just depending on how crazy you want to get to it, you have them all ready to go with fiber optics. So let's look at kind of how that goes, and then I'll tell you how that all got wired in there, which took several iterations, which you'll see here. Okay, so with the model you can see all the different holes that drilled, and with it I just modified the file, not with anything special, just with the slicing program, and just used the drill hole feature to put those on there. Okay, so I got the holes that range about 0.5 and up on the side, and then I'll explain how I did these holes. I just put in the clear resin. You could use all sorts of stuff, but just the UV curing resin, put some dots in there and fill that up, and then you can also tint it when you're doing that, and that can be pretty good. And then I put an LED here that's white, and it appears to come like different colors that it's shining through, because this one's white, and then these are tinted along in there. So that's pretty easy. Nothing's too special here. Just remember, put all the reds together, put all the blacks together, easy. But now for the challenging bit. So this is my first time using fiber optics, and they come in a whole bunch of different sizes. So these are 0.5, and yep, got them from the fiber optic store. You can get whatever size you want. I got a 100-foot yard, because I know that these will be using plenty more of. And yeah, so you get that stuff. And then with it, I'm going to show you on a bigger model. So this is off my next project that's going to be coming soon. You can obviously tell it's bigger, that's why I'm grabbing it. But this is off a 1/24 scale X-Wing, and this is one that didn't work right. I've got some layer lines, and I've got this part that broke, so she got reprinted. Now, with the software and everything, these are 0.5. You might be lucky with some of these. This file is actually pre-drilled, but doesn't quite go in. So what you gotta do is get out a 0.5 drill. And these are from God Hand. Super expensive. I probably wouldn't have bought them if I didn't see them on sale. But so far, pretty dang durable. So what we got, let's do these. So I'm gonna just kind of drill these out a bit. And Cameron, why aren't you using the holder for these bits? Because I'm lazy, it's in the other room. And this will technically work. Maybe I'm just saying it's purely, I feel it better if I'm grabbing the bit like this. So, yeah, let's go with that. Okay, so here. Fiber optic wires are gonna go, well, two rods, I don't know. Fiber optics, then we'll go in. Correction, that's way too tight. Let's go to the 0.6. Put it from this end because it's a lot easier. There we go. So now it goes in, but it's just going to fall right out. So what you do is if you just melt a little bit off the end of it, then it'll do two things. It'll help with the light showing, and then it kind of does a little bit of a mushroom top that prevents it from moving. To use that, I've got a little mini butane torch because, you know, it's America and I can. And
want to hold that letter up for me?
I don't think so, Tim.
Do something like this. I don't want to burn my mat. Okay. And you can see maybe a little much. You can obviously do this with a candle, and it'll probably be a lot better. So, we'll put this in here. Gotta love the smell of melted plastic. Whew, that's good stuff. Okay, so now if you pull it through, it'll lock in place. Pretty awesome. So now with a flashlight, put it up against it, and there you have your light. Yay! End of the video. Nope. So that's the easy part in some respects. When doing this, there's a ton of them, and they all need somewhere to go. What you'll have to have is the fiber optics, the bundle of them, so imagine this is a big old bundle. We've got our fiber optics, you can tie them together. This is a little bit long, but it kind of just helps demonstrate the purpose. You can even use like straws, something that's going to kind of help connect all this together and have the light go through. I tried for quite a while just gluing straight like this, and no. Also, super glue is not great for these, so I would just use my UV curing glue and get that locked in place. And then here, put that LED in there, lock it in place, and now whatever color, you got the blinking blue, red, yellow, whatever color you want to go in there, and you're good for that. Now, of course, if you want to do just red, then you're done there. But with this, I've got a bunch of different colors, so that ups the crazy. So how do I get that plumbed in? Well, you can't really have these fiber optics go in like right angles, and it's not going to work so well. Inside of here, you can see kind of some channels and different room that I can use. So my first iteration, I had these tubes, half the size, in here, and have the LEDs just kind of bend around and go to this, or from here it bends around and goes to this, and that can work. It just wasn't really working for me. So what I did from here is I had all of the LEDs, sorry, from here I've got all of the fiber optics going into the holes and everything, having them go and kind of collect and then go through this tube. And then the way that this is connected, it's got a back plate and kind of like this, and then there's a big metal tube that goes through, and I routed it through the metal tube that is giving it all structure. I'm going to flip it on its head here so you can see. So the tube would be in here, and it's got all of the fiber optics kind of bundled together going in, and then I utilize this big box space. So if we come back to here, you can see there's a good amount of it to work with. So with that, I had about like 2 tubes on this side, 2 on this side, kind of stacked. Some of the stuff in the cockpit I just did at random, but some of them I identified by just shining a light through and go, okay, that one's going to there, I want it to be red. That one's going to there, I want it to be blue. And yeah. Then you have in there, the next challenge is if you have 4 of these tubes with your fiber optics, then that means you need to have 4 sets of wires. So, not as much of a challenge, but and it looks ugly. I wish I could kind of look in the tail end of the other and show you, but just put all the positives and negatives. Positives all together, negatives all together, and yeah. So that's the easy way of it. Some other features that I had a switch, so with that, just on here, you just have a switch in between the black wires to prevent the circuit from going, and then when you flip the circuit, then on the black negatives, then it goes. So you have that. Another really cool feature, so I wasn't quite sure about what this was, and I looked at it a little bit deeper and went, wait a sec, I think I know what he was planning on doing there. So I put just a little magnet there, and then had it stick to the top of here. So now the complete cockpit frame, you could say, I guess, just pops off with a magnet. So that became super useful. If I want to show people the lights and show everything super detailed in there, and then just plop, plops right back on there. Okay, so if you have any questions on any of this, let me know. I would talk a little bit more about the 3D printing, but I'm very much a noob still. I could show you the box of failures that went along with these. You know, looking at this is actually how I put the wires through. Probably should have explained that. So first iteration, I put in and had a top and bottom split, and that was working, but it was a tight fit. So that's where I changed to here. So I run all the LEDs in here out to that tube, and I've got plenty of area from the front chopped off to where I can get to everything, and then pop that there, and then glue it together, make it look like it's one thing, and then there you go. So let me know if you have any other questions on this. What I'm going to be doing in the near future, it's been actually some of it today recording because I've got all the stuff figured out, is I'm going to be working on my 124 scale X-Wing. And as you can see here, going to have the same theory. We're going to work on fiber optics in here, and then I'm going to do something haven't figured out quite yet, but have this kind of bird out and some light up there. Haven't figured that out yet. But all sorts of LEDs. It's going to be pretty dang cool being lit up. And the software just added some holes to have the plumbing go a little easier. And since this is so much bigger scale, I mean, so much easier. I mean, I could have my tubes in here, but I'm going to up this quite a bit, and I'm going to try to do it Arduino. So I'm going to go hard mode instead of just the easy mode. But this is really good for if this is your first time. But the next chapter, bigger scale, bigger challenges that I'm kind of putting in myself. So we'll see you on the next video.